Hey guys, this is Miss Peaches and welcome to Lay It Out. Now, when I woke up this morning, I turned on the news and this was the breaking news. Wasn't sure what was going on, but this was on my TV, so I decided to watch it. And as I'm understanding things, this man was discussing that he was involved in I guess, a standing with children after the Covenant shooting. Now, after that had happened, the Covenant school shooting, it was a rally, if you will, and this man participated in that and had kids hold up a sign saying that I am 9 years old. Basically saying the kids that died, listen, I too am a young child that wants justice and wants peace and wants security. So they are trying to tell the House of Representatives that they are tired of these whack gun laws. And so again, he's one of the, should I say, leaders of the pack. And I just want to commend this man for the things that he have talked about in this courthouse, and also that he's standing up and not letting them just run over him. And so I just want y'all to look at this and, see greatness in the making, because when a young black man is able to stand up in front of everyone and still speak his truth and not feel any type of way about that because he is honest and pure at heart, then that's a great thing. And I want y'all to learn from this. So hopefully this touches somebody. And if you wanted to know about it, here's the, results. So listen up and enjoy.
For acts that were criminal, unethical, not a rule violation.
Representative Garrett. Today, I mentioned before that we've had several pieces of legislation that has traveled through the system. Everyone was able to speak on it. Everyone's district's voice that wanted to speak was heard today. In a week ago, that stopped. This is just not about one specific instance or one specific rule that may be broken. The rules here are for order. We owe that to the constituents that we represent across this state. And when it says to us, and I'll leave you with this, a couple more questions. With that, knowing that the House could not do business when you entered the well, and you were gavelled out of order, and you continued to stay in the well, you placed a bullhorn out of your own jacket, as you said earlier. Those actions, the Speaker had no choice but to recess, because then the emotion in this place exploded. So with all of that conduct by you, by overtaking the well against the rules of this House that we are bound to do under Article 2, Section 12 of the Tennessee Constitution. That's the site that says we must have rules for this House so we can achieve what we achieved today by passing legislation today in an orderly fashion. I ask you this simple question. Were your actions last week as you defined them, were they disorderly and disruptive to this House chamber?
Representative Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I had to take notes because I believe there's about 10 questions in Representative Garrett's comments. I want to begin with the first one, the first statement made. Today, every member was allowed to speak. Today, he had to make that clear that today every member was allowed to speak because the news is here today. But let's talk about yesterday. Let's talk about last week. He said that stopped last week. No, it stopped when Speaker Cameron Sexton was sworn in as House Speaker, that every voice was allowed to be heard. This happened when Cassida was here. And so for many years in this body, every member has been stopped from speaking by a supermajority that is drunk with power. He stated, you overtook the well trying to use language that harkens violence. No, we walked into the well. We walked together. Children, don't you get weary. We walked to the well. We didn't overtake anything. We did not use violence. We did not act in ways that were unlawful. We walked together peacefully and orderly to the well that many of us had been not afforded the opportunity to speak from. You said, was your actions disorderly and disruptive? I think the honest answer is that I believe that my presence here as one of the youngest black lawmakers who speaks for my district is disruptive to the status quo. I believe that's what is disruptive, that when I'm in committee and you seek to pass agendas that harm my community, I say objection, point of order, I don't agree, my constituents deserve a voice. That is disruptive and to the status quo, because you would have us bow down. But Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego said, we shall not bow.
Yes, Lord.
That's what I say to you, Representative Garrett, that we shall not bow. That is what I say to the House Speaker, that we shall not bow. Because what is disorderly is a body that has used voter suppression and rigged maps to take control of our state. What is disorderly is a body that silenced the voices of Nashville at the congressional level, at the city council level, now trying to remove us at the legislative level. That is disorderly to democracy. That is disruptive to what we have an obligation to uphold. And so that is my response.
Yeah, Representative Love, yeah, all right.
That was a mic drop.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, a few years ago, we made the Bible the state book. And there is this common thread in there about grace. Grace. It's not easy to bestow grace. But Martin Luther preached in 1522, said God's grace received must be bestowed. So I'm asking you, just consider. I know it's difficult, I know it's hard, I know there are a lot of hurt feelings. But I'm asking you to consider the grand scheme of things, the future of our body, and not take this particular vote. And consider what my colleagues have said about representation and about those members who will not be able to have their voices heard in this chamber. Thank you for hearing me and considering what I've suggested. Thank you.
Representative also.
Now y'all listen to him because he's very disrespectful. This man right here.
Thank you.
I only saw part of this, but
Mr.
just the part I
Speaker,
saw.
I have one question for the representative, but before I ask it, I want to say a couple of things. First, the representative's address was a compelling, eloquent statement of why he needs to be expelled. In fact,
You see her
when you
look?
listen to it carefully and closely, it's clear that he wants to be expelled.
Do you
That's
hear
why
this?
he refers to all of you as a dishonorable house. We all saw the video of what he did. He and two other representatives effectively conducted a mutiny on March the 30th of 2023 in this very chamber. Recall that in his opening statement, he called his actions honorable. What that means, ladies and gentlemen, is that the gentleman shows no remorse. He does not even recognize that what he did was wrong. So not to expel him would simply invite him and his colleagues to continue to engage in mutiny on the House floor.
You see that man in the blue shaking his head?
Which to this body and to this state has been unknown in its 227-year history since we adopted our Constitution.
He's just shaking his head.
1796.
He knows it's a lie. Look at his
For the moment,
face.
the fact that he does not even consider what he did on March 30 wrong. Look at the disrespect with which he has conducted himself today. He called our speaker a liar. He pointed derisively at our speaker. He insulted each and every one of you, effectively convicting you of being beholden to interest groups rather than voting your conscience. And then the one that I really do not understand is he said that if you vote to expel him, which is actually what he wants, you will be undoing the will of 200,000 Tennesseans. But we know that's not true, don't we, ladies and gentlemen? We know it because we can read our Constitution. This resolution opens with a recitation of the provisions of Section 12 of Article 2 of our Constitution. It's just one sentence, but it says three things. It says each house, the House and the Senate, has the power to determine its own rules. And then second, it provides that each chamber, the House and the Senate, has the power to punish for disorderly behavior. And then third, it says with the concurrence of 2/3 of the body can expel the member for disorderly behavior. It says those three things.
And he said disorderly, you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen,
disorderly
is a case that clearly falls within the confines of Section 12 of Article 2. Was the representative's conduct on March the 30th, quote, disorderly behavior, close quote? You bet it was.
Why was that?
It's a severe, a violation of our Constitution, our rules that a member can be guilty of on the House floor.
He said the word severe.
There is a basis, a strong factual basis
this is a mess.
to vote for expulsion. But what does expulsion mean? Does it mean a death penalty, as we've heard? No, not at all, because Section 12 goes on and says that a representative cannot be expelled a second time for the same offense. So this is not a death penalty. If, in fact, this body votes to expel the representative, which is what he wants, apparently.
That is not what he wants.
He cannot be expelled a second time.
He wants y'all to stand up and listen to him.
Whether or not he comes back is going to be determined locally by the authorities in Davidson County and the voters in Davidson County. This is not a death penalty. Section 12 explicitly recognizes that he might come back. It says you can't be expelled a second time for the same offense. So effectively what we're doing today, ladies and gentlemen, is we are upholding our Constitution. We are protecting the integrity of this body. Let's vote to expel him. That will send the case back to the voters in Davidson County. And if after looking at his conduct, they find he should come back, we will welcome him as a representative.
Representative Jones.
They cut him off.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I didn't hear a question, but while my colleague's statement was eloquent, what he was essentially saying was that Justin is an uppity Negro.
Come on. Preach.
How dare he point at the speaker and call a lie a lie? How dare he act like he's your equal? How dare he come before this body and not bow down? That's what Representative Bolso was saying, and that's what he told me on the elevator 2 days ago when he tried to incite violence against me and got in my face and said, "You are a damn disgrace." And I said, "Representative Bolso, hold on, let me pull up my phone. Can you say that again?"
Right.
And he cowered and chose not to repeat it because he did not want the world to see what a disgrace he is for Williamson County voters. What we are doing today is not respecting the Constitution, but I'm not surprised Because time after time again, this body chooses to burn the Constitution. In fact, we've passed more lawsuits than legitimate laws.
Come on now.
When I hear Representative Bolso's statement, it reminds me that there are people in this chamber whose real offense is not what we did, but that in breaking decorum, we asserted our humanity, we asserted the voices and humanity of our district, we asserted our dignity as equal members of this body, who you would rather have silenced, who you would rather have not hear, who you would rather have back somewhere else instead of up here as your equal. And that, sir, is disheartening. Because I know that not every member of the other side of the aisle feels like you do, Representative Bolso. But throughout this session, I have seen the passion with which you have to attack marginalized communities, and it has disheartened me to see that someone like that sits in this chamber. Someone who has made it his mission to target the vulnerable. It hurts to see that. And so I did say that what the speaker did was lie when he went on national television and told national news that the kids outside, the children who were pleading for their lives, calling for an end to mass shootings, he said they were insurrectionists. He said that they tried to rush the chamber. He said that what we did was violent, and that was a lie, as the video showed you. Thank you for the evidence.
Thank you for the evidence.
Play that on Fox News next time, and not the edited video that the speaker chose to retweet and tag Donald Trump and tag all these conservative pundits. That is what the speaker did a few days ago, and that is dishonorable. It is beneath the dignity of the office of House Speaker to have the speaker targeting and trying to incite violence against members of this body. But his words have consequences. As one of our community members had his house shot, his words have consequences. As youth who participated in the protest asked me, is it safe to come to the next protest after the speaker called us insurrectionists? Mothers saying, is it going to be safe for my children? Or was the speaker giving a dog whistle to the Proud Boys and other groups to show up?
Oh, no.
That is dishonorable.
Have mercy.
And like I said before, I pray for an apology. Because, Representative Bolso, I will apologize when the speaker and you all apologize to the families of Covenant. When you apologize to the families from the Waffle House, when you apologize to those many countless victims to gun violence because of your reckless gun laws, because of your reckless laws that proliferate weapons of war in our communities. When you apologize, then I will apologize.
Yes.
To Representative Bolso's point, I broke a rule. I did acknowledge that. But what I did not break was my oath.
Yes.
That said that I would dissent from and protest against any legislation that is injurious to the people. What I did not break was my promise to the people of District 2 that I would fight for them no matter the consequences. What I did not break was my oath to future generations.
You better preach.
That says that when I see something that is wrong, that is unjust, that is unfair, I will find a way to get in the way and get in good trouble, necessary trouble.
Yes.
So thank you for your question.
Necessary trouble. Yes.
Representative Towns.
That young man is a representative right there.
Thank you, Mr.
A
Speaker.
real representative.
Members,
Because he stands up for his people.
what I see today is really
Not only black people. I'm not saying that. I'm saying his people in his
on
district.
this House floor. People are angry. Either justified or unjustified. There's a spirit of anger walking among the members, the brotherhood, the fraternity, the sorority, in this Tennessee chamber. There should not be a spirit of anger. There's an old saying that goes that to whom the gods will destroy, they must first make angry. When they're about us, we lose our heads. We're fighting in a war, or we're fighting for something. When we lose our heads and become angry, we do dangerous things to each other. And the body of politics, the body of the Tennessee Chamber, we're doing dangerous things, attempting to do dangerous things, dastardly things, unwilling things, bad things to each other. The brotherhood, the sisterhood, that is not good. Each of you know, you live long enough to know that democracy is messy sometimes. Democracy is messy. Go all the way back to the founder of the country. Deal with the women's movement, the right to vote. Deal with the civil rights movement. Democracy is messy, and it always will be messy to get something out of it. You're trying to get to the pearls of wisdom, the pearls, the gold, the diamonds. But it's a messy process. It's not pretty all the time. It's never been pretty all the time. Any of you all that understand and know history, it's always a little messy.
Come on.
But we perfected some things in this country that allow us to make change and evolve and do good. Right now, we're not doing good because under these circumstances that happen to our fellow members, we're trying to crucify them.
You're not God.
When there were other measures that could be taken. There are other measures that could be taken that could have driven the point home as it relates to what we want to see, decorum and order. Other things could have been taken. But we opted out because we're angry to seek the nuclear option. When you drop a nuclear bomb, you destroy everything. You never use a sledgehammer to kill a gnat with.
Come on.
We are dropping the nuclear option on one of our fellow members. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that dog bites twice. Comes back to bite you in your butt too.
Come on now.
We should not go to the extreme of expelling our members for fighting for what many of the citizens want to happen, whether you agree with it or not. Is there a right way to do things? Of course there is. Many of y'all probably secretly admire the courage of our young members and glory. You probably admire the courage. How many of y'all can remember how you acted when you were 20 years old, 25 years old? If there's a video camera around, I bet you don't want to see that.
Preach.
Our conduct. Some of us are older and we did not have everything that we did on tape today. So you make allowances for our young people to grow and to become, because regardless, at some point, they're going to have to run this country.
It sure is.
I'm encouraging some compassion. Don't vote for this expulsion of any of our members. I didn't vote for the Jeremy Darmer expulsion. I thought it was wrong. It was wrong then, and it's wrong today. They should not be expelled for fighting for something that many of the citizens of the state of Tennessee want.
Yes.
Let's think deeply, let's think caringly, and let's show we have the ability to lead with a good heart. Speaker, thank you.
Man, respect. That's respect.
Representative Farmer. Pass. Representative Hardaway.
Thank you, Speaker. Colleagues, I've thought long and hard of what I needed to say to you. It's simple. We all need more black Jesus.
Yes.
That guy with the woolly hair and the bronze feet.
Yes.
That truth is what we base our lives on. So I'm not surprised that we're here. I'm disappointed and to a great extent, just disgusted. I was here when Kent Williams became speaker. The chaos, the confusion, threats against his life. It all happened right here on this floor. And you know who led that? My Republican colleagues.
Have mercy.
Neither I nor any of my Democratic colleagues jumped up and demanded their resignations or demanded that they be hauled before the ethics committee, much less demand that they be expelled. And after he was elected speaker, listen to me, he had to have the Tennessee Highway Patrol to escort him from his desk to the speaker's podium.
Wow.
Speaker, you were here. If you weren't here, you need to listen to this because it's scary. It is scary.
Come on now.
I watched how men and women went from gentlemen and gentle ladies into monsters. It was the worst possible scene that I have ever seen and that you could ever imagine on the floor of the House. But let's talk about why we're here. We're here because 3 9-year-olds and 3 adults were murdered at school, which should be one of the safest places that you could be in your life.
Yes.
I can't imagine the trauma that these young folks will have to live with for the rest of their lives. I can't imagine the trauma that their parents will have to experience every time they leave the house going to where? School.
Wow. Have mercy.
And it's something that we could have acted on last session.
Yes.
Session before that. Session before that.
Come on now.
And we chose not to. These young folks came in, refused to be a prisoner of procrastination, and demanded justice.
Yes.
That's why we're here. They demanded justice for those children and justice for those hundreds of children who have died across Tennessee over the years. I'm happy that we've started to move on legislation that will help to mitigate the problem so that our classrooms and our playgrounds don't become killing fields.
Come on now.
Tennessee. I'm grateful for the work that we've done. But I tell you, young, gifted, intelligent, and black. I'm proud of it.
Yes.
He broke rules. He did not break the law.
Yes.
This is, in spite of what my colleague said, this is the death penalty. Because if he's expelled, he will no longer be a part of this process. So I urge you, do the right thing. Vote like you were voting for your seatmate.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Respect, my brother. Respect.
Thank you. Representative Gant? Yeah, you pass. All right. Representative Mitchell?
But you did pass on that one.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We're setting a precedent today that a lot of you in here.
I want to stop right there and let you guys have a moment to reflect. I'm going to have part 2, but I do want y'all to know that this is a serious, very serious case right here for our Nashville, Tennessee people. And that's where I reside. So whoever's looking at this across the world right now, I want y'all to know that this was serious and we are fighting for our people. Not only our people, we're now fighting for our children who should have been safe in schools. But yet we don't know how to demonstrate an actual law, meaning don't have guns in school. Because for some reason, they think that it's not right for how the person came about approaching this. This black man shouldn't be representing children or parents at this point of time. We should do that. First of all, it doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter what ethnic background you came from. When someone stands up, when someone rises up for others, that right there is respect. That's what God wants. It doesn't matter about being Democratic or Republican. It doesn't matter about that. Yes, you're in the House of Representatives and, you take sides, but the main side that you need to be on is the side of the people. That's who you need to fight for. That's who deserves justice. And until we get there, we will always be a divided people. So again, I hope this touched someone to get up and speak on it. Again, this young man, black, white, Asian, whatever his race is, it didn't matter, okay? He spoke on it. And that's the first step. So I want to thank this young brother for even stepping up and stepping on toes. Sometimes it takes that, y'all. Sometimes you got to step up and step on some toes in order to step over the oppression, step over the negativity, to step over these people that said that they are with you, but they are naysayers. So sometimes we have to get a little, messy in order to be clean in the presence of our people and most importantly, our higher power, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, our God. Thank you guys for listening. Tune in for part 2 for next Lay It Out. This is Miss Peaches, and you have a blessed day. Bye.